Since the start of the new year, 11 people have already been killed in Buffalo in 2017. Just about every week, we report on homicides, shootings, and other forms of violence.
But we don't always talk about the impact that this violent cycle has on the family members, the friends, and the children of our community. They are the hidden victims of these tragedies. And Join Side's Danny Spiewak is looking at the people that this violence impacts in part one of tonight's special report.
Shamira Naylor wore number 10 for the Burgard High School basketball team. Her combination of skills and smarts had drawn the interest of several Division I schools. But on October 9th, 2014, Naylor's life ended at the age of 17.
Somebody randomly walked up to her and shot her.
Naylor had been walking with friends in the Riverside section of Buffalo. Her mother, Marquita, was waiting for her to come home that night.
It just was traumatizing. You know, you think your kid is going to college and she's going to make something out of her career and she's going to be something, and then she's gone.
Her death left behind friends. And it left behind siblings who needed counseling to cope with the pain. It also left behind a cousin, Ayanna Wilson, who by her own estimation has already buried at least 20 friends or family members in the 18 years she's been alive.
They don't really know what's going on here on these streets. We actually know. We're living it daily. We actually seeing it.
Wilson is one of 3 young women who sat down with us to talk candidly about gun violence and the impact on young people. Each brought their own perspective. Wilson graduated from Math, Science, and Technology School in Buffalo just last year and works for the Peacemakers.
A gun is controlling our world, and I don't want to stand up and try to take the world back.
18-year-old Rachel Cofield also graduated from MST last year.
It's sad. People can't enjoy life. We can't enjoy our youth.
Nakira White turns 18 this year. She spent a year at MST but will graduate from Sweet Home later in the year.
It's robbing the kids from their childhood. It's not okay. It's just not okay.
Thousands of kids are exposed to this type of trauma. A survey of high school students in the Buffalo Public Schools revealed nearly 35% have seen someone shot, stabbed, or beaten in their own neighborhood. For Todd Timmons, the trauma is even more personal. 3 years ago, he was at a party when gunshots erupted outside. A stray bullet struck him in the hip.
I didn't really feel it until I got to the emergency room. Like my adrenaline was rushing. I didn't know if I was going to die.
After rehab, Timmons is back walking and even running again. He's now also a volunteer with the Buffalo Peacemakers, where he's a youth mentor.
I don't want nobody to have to go through what I've been through, so I try to use my experience to help encourage them to want to do better.
That's the type of encouragement True Bethel Baptist Church offered to 200 young men and women last month, following the death of a 16-year-old a few blocks away from the church itself.
It's tragic. How people just die, it's tragic.
In other cities across the United States, it's been well documented what this type of trauma can do to a child growing up. And it's no different here in Buffalo. Dr. Amanda Nickerson is the director of the Alberti Center for Bullying Abuse Prevention at UB. She's working with a colleague to study the circumstances that lead to youth violence and victimization.
A good percentage of the kids that are exposed to chronic violence will go on to develop post-traumatic stress disorder. Not everyone, again, but yeah, that's a pretty serious clinical diagnosis that can come from that kind of ongoing stressor.
In less serious cases, that exposure can still significantly impact a child's psychological functioning and even their performance in school.
That exposure to that violence and that stress really can permeate all areas of life.
Just look at the pain caused by Shamira Naylor's death.
It has been another Shamira Naylor in 2017. I want to stop talking about what do I want to do to make a change, how are we going to change it, what should the adults do, what should the kids do. I'm starting with me. I want to be hands-on.
Whether you've lost your friends or family, a daughter, or you've been shot yourself, everyone in this story has been touched by violence in their own way, and they all recognize the collective toll that it takes.
It's a huge impact to the community because it makes the kids want to give up. It makes them feel like it's nothing out there but that, and that's the only option that they have.
But as they enter the adult world, these 3 teenagers plan to change that.
We got to make it our problem now. We got to make it our problem, and now we got to find a solution.
Wow.
We sat down with those 3 young women for an hour earlier this month. Tomorrow night, in part 2 of this story, we're going to show you more of what they had to say as they address solutions to fix the problems. And one final point I do want to add, I think this is really important, is that statistically violent crime is dropping in Buffalo, actually by as much as 10% in 2016 compared to the 10-year average before it. So I think that's just a good thing to point out as we talk about this, because whatever is being done in the community is working to an extent.
It's amazing the impact that when we read one of these stories on the news as a news story, the impact that it has in the communities and with the youth out there.
Yeah.
It's good that crime is going down, but still, as you mentioned, the lasting effects on these young people, I mean, it can follow them their whole life through.
Yeah, and they would, as anyone would tell you, one is too many. And you just look at the impact of one death from Shamir Naylor, and you know, any of those just impacts so many people, a web of people, a family of friends.
Right. Well, looking forward to seeing part 2 tomorrow.
Excellent report, Danny. Thank you.